So I never thought I'd say that there's a worse superhero film than the Marvels, but I'm saying that today. Madame Web is the worst superhero movie of all time. The biggest complaint I have with this film is that it shouldn't be called a superhero movie. There was no superheroing in the film. There's no action scenes, there's no fighting scenes. It's just Madame Web hitting people with cars. The only scene that contains some action is the last 5 minutes where Madame Web is in 5 places at once and saves these 3 useless side characters from the most generic and boring villain of all time. And she doesn't actually move. She's in the one spot and she makes 5 of herself. That's the only action in the film. It is just so boring. I feel most sorry for these 4 actresses in this film. You know, they sign on to a Marvel film and they're probably under the impression that they're going to play superheroes. I mean, they're fucking cast as superheroes. But come to find out, they're there and they're in their superhero suits for all of 30 seconds. And I am not exaggerating. You only see the 3 girls in their superhero suits in a dream sequence that's all of 20 seconds. And right before the credits, that's a 5-second shot of the 4 of them. That's it. Other than that, you've just got these 3 girls that lack all personality. They've got no backstory except for my dad doesn't want me at the house and I've got nowhere to go. That's literally it. I don't know who wrote this film, but it's a fucking disaster. I've heard that Dakota Johnson has said that the script from when she signed up to the actual end of the film, the script didn't look anything alike. They were basically 2 different scripts, completely rewritten. And I've heard that Andrew Garfield was in the original. I don't know if that's true, but thank fuck he doesn't appear in this movie, because it wouldn't have saved it. It would have been a stain on his legacy. But again, I just feel for these 4 because they're not given anything. Their performances aren't bad, but they come off as bad because their characters are written so fucking bad. Like, their characters lack any personality and the dialogue is terrible. Madame Web, she just continuously speaks to herself. Like, she'll be reading a book at her home and she's like, oh, my mum was researching spiders. Like, it's so... It just lacks any creativity. The actual trailer was a fucking scam. The marketing was an absolute scam, man. Like, they must have known that this wasn't going to go over well. Because in the trailer, Sydney Sweeney and the other girls, they're all in their suits fucking bossing it, right? Everyone wants to go see Sydney Sweeney as Spider-Woman. How fucking sick is that? You don't see it. It's there for 20 seconds and that is literally it. How they scammed people into this film was actually pathetic. The villain in this film is the most boring, bland, just worst villain ever. But in the film, he dreams that these 3 girls, when they're superheroes, and you don't find out how they become superheroes, you just see a vision of them being superheroes. So obviously, they've planned for a second one, which is not going to happen after the release of this. It is not going to happen. But anyway, he sees them killing him in his dream, and that's his motive to go out and kill them. I've seen you kill me in my dream, that's my destiny. I've got to change my destiny. I've got to kill you first. And man, the way this villain talks, there's a scene in here where he's got like this stolen technology where he can tap into any cameras and street lights and street traffic cams or whatever. Very cliche, but the girl, like his sidekick, isn't finding them quick enough. And he literally delivers this line. He goes, I've stolen this technology, use it better. And that's literally it. And that's probably the most menacing he was the entire film. This movie was just boring from beginning to end. Fucking boring. For a superhero movie with no superhero scenes, no action scenes, except for driving an ambulance really fast. That is it. It was just... The 2 hours felt like I was in there for 4. Within the first half hour, man, I was so fucking bored. Like, terribly bored. I was literally trying not to fall asleep. And this couple behind us, they got up and actually left about an hour in. I don't know if they had a fight or some shit, but I'm pretty sure they didn't. It was dead silent in the theater. From boredom, I'm pretty sure everyone was fucking sleeping. And all that hate Morbius got, they've got to take that back. I actually didn't mind Morbius. I didn't think it was that bad. Morbius absolutely shits on this film. And the Marvels, again, I never thought I'd say it, but that's a better movie than this. I can watch the Marvels and laugh at how bad it is, right? There was actual action scenes in the Marvels, so at least they tried. This film here, they did not try. I don't know what that original script looked like. If there was action scenes with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, if there was action scenes with the 3 Spider-Women that actually were in there doing shit, not just acting like stupid teenagers. I don't know if that was in the original, but this new script that they've rewritten and shat out. The producers of this film should never touch film again. I'm sorry. Maybe Marvel and Sony have said, no, you're doing your job. No matter how bad it is, shit it out. Maybe it's not on them. But someone's got to be to blame for this. It was just... It's not a superhero movie. I'm not going to call it a superhero movie. It was a movie with no character building, no action, a very lackluster story, no likable characters. If you haven't seen this film, I'm not even going to go and tell you to see it. I don't recommend seeing it. Just look up the plot on YouTube or look up the plot on Google and you'll understand the entire 2 hours in 10 seconds. Don't see it. Just watch a fucking rundown. It's just so disappointing. Like, the fact that this came out, this should have been deleted. They should have gone onto the computer, file, fucking delete. This should not have been released. This movie was terrible. I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10. So another fucking disaster from Marvel / Sony. I don't know when it's gonna end. I'm not surprised at this point. It's becoming a normal thing now. So if you've seen the film, let me know what you think, and thanks always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.